Now the next function we are going to study is the isLower function. In any character string, if we want to check that if the letter or the character that is entered is lowercase, then we will use isLower function, isLower. And similarly the parameter passed to this function, or you can write over here that the parameter should be of character data type. So how this will work, it will check if the parameter that we have passed is lowercase or uppercase. So over here we will write is lower, and let's say it's a capital F that we have passed to this function. Let's save this and let's run the simulation. You can see that it's a false because the letter F is of uppercase. So if we enter letter F with lowercase, let's save this, let's run the simulation, and it will return a result of true because is lower and the letter F is of lowercase, it will return 1. So serial.println will print the true on the serial monitor. So the next function, if we want to check that the character that we have entered is of uppercase, for that we will use isupper function, and similarly the parameters that we will pass to this function will be of character data type. And if we want to check, let's do over here is upper and let's say now we will write letter F capital, or let's say if I write capital A, uppercase A. Let's save this and let's run the simulation. This will return a true. True will be written on the serial monitor because isupper A will return a value of 1. Similarly, if I enter a lowercase letter, let's save this and let's run the simulation again. It will return a value of false. So in this way you can check that the character is of is uppercase or lowercase. The next thing we will study about the function is the isspace function. This will return 1 if the parameter passed to is a whitespace character, or space, or a form field, carriage return, or a horizontal tab, or a vertical tab, and in all other cases it will return a 0. So let's check the 7th character function we are going to study is the isspace function, and the parameter that we are going to pass in this function is of the parameter that we will pass to this function will be of character type, and let's change this is space, and this will be true. The isspace function will be true in following cases: when we have a new line, or I can just write that when we have a new line, or we have a space, or if we have a form field character. Over here let's give a double quotation, form field character. Then if you have a carriage return, or horizontal tab, or a vertical tab. So in all these cases the isspace function will return a value, a true value. So one thing to add, that all these functions we are studying in this Arduino character function will return a value of 1 or 0 that is of integer data type. So over here is in the if isspace function, as a is not included in all these things that I have just mentioned, then it will return a value of false. So let's save this and let's run the simulation again. You can see that it have returned a value of false. So over here, let's say if I change this to character new line, let's save this and let's run the simulation, and you will get a true. So in this way the isspace function works, and that is actually used to identify all these things that I have mentioned over here in your string or whatever the value has been entered from the keyboard. So in this way the isspace function works. The next function we are going to study is the isControl function. That is isControl function, and in this we will have parameter passed should be character type, and over here we will change this to isControl. So the isControl function, let's do this. This is the 8th function we are studying. So this will return true. The isControl function will return true if we have a character that is a new line character, or if we have a form feed, and if we have carriage return, or if we have horizontal tab, and if we have vertical tab, or we have an alert, or we have a backspace character. So in all these cases the isControl function will return a value of 1, and if any other thing is passed into this function, it will return a value of false. So over here, let's say if I pass to this, let's say if I write e to this, and let's save this, let's stop the simulation, let's run the simulation again, it will return false, because all these function parameters that I have mentioned above are not included, are not any of the parameter in which the isControl function returns true is not passed into the parameter of the isControl function. So over here, if we enter this parameter, let's save this, let's stop the simulation, let's run this again, then it will return a value of true. So in this way the isControl character function works. Similarly, we have different other functions that are used on the characters, like we have the 9th function we have is punct, and we will pass the parameter is actually it will return the 1 if the parameter is of printing character types other than spaces or digit or letter, and 0 in all other cases. So it will return 1 if the parameter passed is a parental character type, but it should not have any space. It will return 1 if the parameter is a digit, it will return 1 if it's a letter, and in all other cases this is punctuation character function will return 0. The next function we have is the isprint function. So the isprint function will return 1 if the parameter is of printing character type including the spaces, and in all other cases this isprint function will give the value will return 0. The next we have is the isgraph function. The isgraph function will return 1 if C is a printing character type other than space, and in all other cases it will return 0. In the isprint function spaces are included, but in the isgraph function spaces are not included for the function to return the value of 1. So you can also study different functions and you can Google it. These are just the few functions that we have just discussed over here that will be helpful while writing code in the coming videos, and for better understanding of the handling of character when you are going to write your code. So hopefully you have understood different character functions that we have studied in this video.